All right, Nehemiah. We started or stopped here at number 14, is how people try to put a stop to something that they are against. If we look at this list, they laugh, then it goes to scorn, and then to force, and then if they can't do that, then they're trying to trick you by craft. Where is that in the Bible? And it's in Daniel. How does the Antichrist succeed? Anybody know? It's that word craft. That craft shall prosper. It says craft shall prosper in his hand. Anybody know what that means? Now, everybody I've ever read, anybody I've ever looked up, they all say the same thing. Craft shall prosper in his hand. What does that mean? Say it again. Like China, they'll be able to make a zillion of them for nothing. I don't know. They all say the same thing, that it's the craft is the smooth talk out of the mouth. I don't see that, but you got to be a theologian to be able to look that up and if that really means that. The craft that prospers in his hand, it means. It doesn't mean like what you and I would take it to mean when you first read it. It means his smooth talk. He'll cleverly trick you. Like craftiness. It's not my ability to make this coat. You paid $395 for this coat. Tomorrow you buy it from China for $12.15. And then it's on the rack in the used place for $3.95. Yeah. It doesn't mean that kind of craft. It means trickiness and crafty with a tongue. That's what it means. I don't know. I have to go by what I read. I can't interpret that any other way. If you do and you're wrong, well, you don't want to be wrong in your interpretation. Anyway, they laugh him to scorn. It says here in Nehemiah 2, verse 19. We've already prayed about it. First of all, and when Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem, and the Arabian, heard it, they laughed us to scorn, despised us, said, "What is this thing that you do? Will ye rebel against the king?" They want to get you to quit. So they first start. The easiest method is to laugh. Will people quit if you laughed at them? If you laughed at them, will people quit? It's discouraging. When I took my first piano lesson, my first official lesson, from a guy I went in. I was 19. I had already I understood, with the G clef and the bass clef. I understood music from grade school and what the quarter note meant and the half note and the whole note and the dotted half. And I knew all that and the time signatures. And I knew where the notes would go. And I could pick out a tune with one finger. And it was a real struggle to play with two hands. I was 5 minutes. He said, "Well, let's hear what you can do." And so I struggled with maybe a book I had no idea and knew nothing about chording. My mother said, "Go find somebody that could teach you chording." And I told him that ahead of time. And so I pulled it out. I probably played Strangers on the Shore. It's the one Fred McMurray plays, I think, on what does he play? The saxophone, thank you. He plays that on the sax. And I was 3 minutes into this, and his name was Fred. He started laughing. It wasn't uncontrollable laughter, but it was a sincere laugh. And I thought, oh boy, this is pretty bad.
Did you tell him you were good?
Oh, no, I didn't tell them I was good. I probably, no, oh no, I didn't do that.
Set yourself up for failure.
I probably did set myself up for failure, saying that, well, I know a little bit. And so, but it was a very little bit. In other words, I knew maybe a lot, but it's kind of like my plumber. He said, well, you play that? Well, let's hear it. He's not afraid to say it. You play that? Well, let's hear it. He wants to hear it right now. And then after you play it, he said, yeah, just what I thought. So, but that wasn't the case with my plumber. Anyway, I played. He couldn't hold it back. He started laughing. And that could be very discouraging. You know, people could laugh at you, and there are people that would quit right now. That's it, I'm out of here. I'll never make it. You know, they play 3 bars and it's over. But I'm not a quitter. The time we had a problem with our installation of an air conditioner and furnaces in the house, the chief engineer, he doesn't go out to job sites. He said, well, I happen to be in Hudson today. I'll swing by your house. So the chief engineer came by and he said, you don't seem like the kind of a person that's going to quit. You're going to see this through. And I said, this guy tangled with the wrong guy today. And the one who did the install. They think they were dealing with an 80-year-old senile guy. I said, we're going to see this out. He ruined my summer, but we won. You know, we ended up going to a hearings at the county level. So I'm not a quitter. So laughing didn't work. He wasn't trying to get me to quit though. And so then he taught me the piano in 5 minutes. I said, you're kidding me. That's all there is to it. He said, yeah, I'll teach you a little. Oh, I told him, I said, I have this going on, this going on, this going on, this going on. I don't have a lot of time. He said, I'll teach you and I'll teach you quick. And he did. But laughing didn't do it. And laughing to scorn. It says in chapter 4, verses 1 through 6, they laughed before they got started and laughed them to scorn, to reject, verses 1 through 6, I would assume. A great indignation, they mocked the Jews, it says in verse 1. I don't see the word scorn in there. But to scorn means to reject as disgraceful, that this is disgraceful. You guys, number one, can't do it. And when anything you are doing, it's a mess. It's time to quit.
Scorn was in 2:19.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Yes, it is. Laugh them to scorn. But in chapter 4, where I use that in that list, I didn't see scorn there. Now, I will have to admit, my dad, I was with my father all the time. My brother wasn't, but I was. My brother was always at home with mother, and I was always at work with my father. And after I had taken the piano for a couple of years, and I got married, moved out, I'd go over to the house to practice a little bit. My dad would tell me, quit. He said, why don't you just give it up? Now, if you were a parent and your kid is playing the piano, would you do that to a kid? My dad did a couple of things to me that I never understood. I never understood that. And I would like to think I'd be encouraging. We're to encourage one another. He said, give it up, quit. I said, I can get paid doing this. He said, no,
reverse psychology.
Well, I went right at it. I said I could get paid doing this. I finally had enough of this. I could get paid you.
Yeah, he motivated you by saying that.
No, he wasn't doing reverse psychology. That was not reverse psychology. I can see your point, but that wasn't the case. And I said, I could get a job doing this. He said, no, you can't. And I said, you want to bet on it? And so I went. They were opening up a ground round at Pearl there in 130th. And I don't know if I called them. Listen, I wasn't waiting around for someone to call me, and I wasn't a member of the musicians union. I probably couldn't even get in it. To get in the musicians union, what do you have to do?
Play.
You probably have to play in front of a board and they have to approve you to let you in the union, because if they're gonna send you out on a job, you gotta show that you can play.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I wasn't a member of the union. My banjo player that I had, I think he was a member of the union, and he was good, really good. So I applied for the job. They said, come on out and do an audition. And the guy that was there, was the piano player from Route 256 or 250. It's up there in North Royalton or out past Rocky River.
Station.
Columbia, no, it's north of that.
North Olmsted.
It's far north of that. Yeah,
Rocky River.
north. There was a ground round out there. We used to
Rocky
go
River.
out there, peanuts and popcorn all over the place. And man, that guy could play. Man, he played Bumble Boogie one time out, and I thought to myself, I could never play Bumble Boogie. Anybody know where they use Bumble Boogie? Bumble Boogie. Was Bumble Boogie, or it was the one they do with the Green Hornet. But see, this is another, we're a different era, aren't we? You guys don't even know the TV show The Green Hornet. They play Bumble Boogie in that. And they play it on a trumpet. It goes,
Yeah, okay.
you know, the Green Hornet.
I know that song, yeah.
It's the play of the bumblebee, but I think it's called Bumble Boogie. They give it another name if you're ragging it.
Yeah.
But he plays it slow on the piano. I couldn't do that. And he was there. Well, I got the job. And I always tell people, listen, I wasn't the best. There's people by far better than me. But why did I get the job? If you don't apply, you ain't getting it. I got the job because I applied.
You have not because you asked not.
You have not, exactly, brother. If you want to tie it in with the Bible, you have not because you asked not.
I know for sure that's it.
Yeah,
I
but I asked.
I had experienced it many times.
But they didn't laugh at me, and they didn't call it disgraceful. See, now, if I didn't get the job, well, then that would have been bad. I just wanted to get the paycheck so I could show my dad and say, there it is. It's made out to me, and that's who signed the check. And I knew the name that was on the check was the general manager of that store, and it was Howard Johnson's owned the chain.
Ooh.
It's just like some of these places like Walmart or Kmart, now not necessarily Walmart, but Kmart, Uncle Bill's. When you find out who the corporate headquarters are, it isn't Uncle Bill's or Gold Circle. It's some group, and you may have heard the group, but they own all these other companies.
Yeah.
And so here it was, Howard Johnson's owned it, but it wasn't just being disgraceful. They want to say your work is inferior, and so on, to scorn. If that didn't work, in verse 7, chapter 4, verse 7, but it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth and conspired all them to come together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. So they want to do it now by force. It goes from laughing to say you do inferior work, and now we're going to stand in the way. You can't get going. We're going to do this by force. Now, to get me to stop playing the piano, before I moved out of the house, they kind of wanted to force it. What did they do? When I was practicing, I played for 3 hours a night.
Turn up the TV.
It was where the TV was. Turning up the TV didn't work. So what did they do? What would you do? You want to listen to TV. They moved the piano out. They moved it into the kitchen where there was a door, so I had to practice out there, which was fine. But they wanted to move it out by force to get this to stop. Get this to stop. And then last of all, in Nehemiah chapter 6, 1 through 19, and we're not going to read that whole chapter, but then they do it by craft. We're going to use reverse psychology. If you can't beat them,
Join them.
Join them. Isn't that what they wanted to do? They said, you have no part, and Nehemiah said, you have no part in the building of this wall. They said, why don't we come in, and it may not be in this area here, but why don't we come and help you? Why don't we come and help you?
They won't mix some mortar.
And then what are they going to do if they came in there to help?
Inferior mortar.
It starts with an S.
Sabotage.
Sabotage, yes, sir. They built that mausoleum where I grew up, and they didn't use something about Union help, and there was a big explosion there. They said that Union came in and blew it up. It shook the house, rattled the windows. We couldn't believe what was going on. And here there was somebody planted a bomb in there. You wouldn't think that would be going on. This is in the 1960s. And it wasn't Arabs. It was the Union. So where did they find, what's his name? What's the Union boss? Jimmy. Where did they find Jimmy? Well, supposedly, what did they find and where? Jimmy Hoffa's from Cleveland, isn't he? Isn't he the boss here? They found a hand in Arizona, in a dumpster. A hand in Arizona. Now, is that true? I don't know. That's what I heard. So a pretense, by pretense, chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, to make believe that it's false friendship. Probably we are here to help you. And that didn't work. So verses 5 through 9, it's a false, bold front. We're going to let you have it. And then through treachery, betrayal of trust and treason in this. They want you to quit. They want you to quit and give up. Always remember that the devil doesn't want you going forward. He doesn't want you going forward. It's always going forward. Anybody here play Mother May I? We eat up there, and the kids are playing red light, green light, or they'll play Mother May I. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about, Mother May I. So there's somebody stands up here, and they turn around and they say, Mother, may I take 5 baby steps or 5 giant steps? And they go 5 giant. They got to get to touch the person so that they become the mother. Mother, may I? And the other one is when they turn around to catch them moving. You can't be moving. And they play it while we're eating up there. And now why did I say that? Mother, may I? Oh, I know. They'll tell you, the mother tells you how many steps you can take. You can take 5 giant steps. So you take 5 giant steps getting clothed, 5 giant steps. Or they'll say, take 2 baby steps. Always remember this. Even if it's just baby steps. Just baby steps. You're still going forward. If all you can do is take baby steps for Jesus, you're going forward. It doesn't always have to be giant steps. You know who did that illustration? Do you remember who did that illustration? And I think he used Mother May I. It was the guy that, not the Ruckman, but his cohort.
Grady?
The short guy from Akron. Can't think of his name. I know that you guys know him. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Sam Gipp. Sam Gipp did that. And when he preached, he always took his shoes off. Do you remember he'd take his shoes off? He would take his shoes off, he'd be marching all over the place. But if you're playing Mother May I, and Mother didn't say you can take 3 giant steps, and they said all you can do is take baby steps. Well, take baby steps for Jesus. I never forgot that illustration. Always going forward. If today, let's say you can't take any steps. Well, don't go backwards. You know, it's not 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Just relax. Relax. It's okay. There's always tomorrow. Always tomorrow. And so they're going to get that. Now, this is the problem in number 14. The problems that you have from outside the church, from without the church. Now, from within the church, is you have these problems that go on. There was a lot of debris. The debris was the fallen down bricks. We have to clean the mess up. We have gates that are burnt with fire. That has to all be taken down if they're going to rebuild the wall. So there's debris. You have debris in your... What would you call debris in your life? What's the debris in your life? It would be past sins, or the sins that you're guilty and that you constantly live with today, tomorrow. It just can't go away. You've got to get that behind you. You've got to clean the debris up. Whatever it may be, if this is what you're doing, well, stop it. Just stop it. It's kind of like ever listen to an interview when they interview the NBA, when they interview a basketball player? Ever listen to that interview?
It's torturous.
It's torturous. So they put the microphone, and let's not use LeBron James. I mean, everybody knows that name. You put it in some other guy. They're all making a lot of money. If it's the minimum wage, the guy's still making $700,000 a year. And they put the microphone to his face, and then what's that interview like? And it's not sin that they're committing. I'm talking about a bad habit.
You know?
Yes.
You know. That's not sin. That's a bad habit. And almost all of them do it. I did it. If you're going to talk to me, it's you say these repetitious things over and over and over and over, and your verbal skills. If I'm going to be a preacher, I can't be doing that. I can't be doing that. And I had this problem long before I ever decided I was going to be a preacher. One day in my life, I could have been 24 years old. I decided I'm going to stop saying, and I decided every sentence I'm going to make, I'm going to start the sentence, finish the sentence, take my time, and make sure when I'm almost ready to say, that I stopped.
Yeah.
I skipped the, and then went on. You can beat it. You can beat it. And finally, speaking correctly became a habit. It became a habit. Speaking incorrectly is a bad habit. And you can form good habits. That's the debris that's in your life. Yes?
I'm curious to speak in Spanish. Thomas would know. If they had, like, what they say is mexicano, like a bad habit, like, what's their version of
Oh, you know what? When you're speaking Spanish, Espanol.
What's your version of
Oh, the other day, the 2 guys left, and they left in that bed, and I got them laughing. I said, "Ándale, ándale." I have no idea what that means. I went, "Ándale, ándale," because they say that in the cartoons. They were just dying laughing. They couldn't get it. They were just laughing away. And then I asked them later, I said, "What does that mean?" And somebody said it means hurry up. Is that what it means? I don't know. Hurry up, hurry up. So, but they say that in the cartoons. Would they do that when they speak Spanish, where they stammer, not stutter, but add words in there that they don't know what to say, so they go,
What's their version of
They do. So there's these hesitations. That can be licked. You can overcome that. So the debris in your life would be secret, and let's not call them sins, because we're to confess what?
Our trespasses.
No? Oh, yeah, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't flunk you on that. Confess your trespasses.
Shows very full.
Faults. You're not to confess your sins one to another. You confess your faults one to another. And we all have them. And we can overcome these faults and stop it in becoming a Christian. Fear. That's another one. God hath not given us the spirit of fear. Where do you find that? It's in the Bible. First or second? You want to go first? I want to go second. You could be right. Chapter 1, verse 7. Chapter 1, verse 7. God hath not given us the spirit of fear. All right? He's not given us that. So people are... Now, when I auditioned, when I did that piano audition, was I afraid? On a violin, a tremolo, and if you're playing certain songs, you go da la 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 la. Who's sorry now? Da la 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 la. I was so afraid. I didn't need any problem doing a tremolo. I was so shaky. I was just terrified, but I got through it. I got through it. Fear. And then greed. The problem from within. The greed. They were charging interest. The rich people were charging interest to their fellow Israelites. It was, we have a banker here. I don't know what the going rate is today. The going rate's pretty low. You know, the feds are loaning that out almost at 0%. But the greed was they were loaning them at 1/100th, 1%, which in our day and age, that's nothing. During the Carter days, they were paying up to 15, 17% on savings accounts. People would borrow money. You could only borrow money if it was in there in your life insurance. And you could borrow, and the agreement is you pay it back at, let's say, 5%. They stash it in the bank, and let's say it's 15%. They were making 10% on the money they had stored up in their life insurance, in their whole life insurance. They were making money off of Carter. Carter was a mess. That was a mess. And then we thought it was going to be Obama on steroids, Carter on steroids, and now it's going to be Biden on steroids. It's going to be a mess, and we're way over. We'll pick this up and about the debris, fear, and the greed are the problems that go on inside of the church. Shake hands. We will preach in 15 minutes.